Famously, marijuana has been legal here in Colorado for quite some time now, but that doesn't mean it comes without health risks. There's a new study that found that smoking marijuana can cause lung damage. And joining us today, Dr. Payal Kholi, to talk about potential side effects. I get the feeling smoking anything is probably not
the best idea.
It's so true. I mean, you're pushing those toxins and carcinogens into your lungs. But this was a little bit surprising because it was CT scans of marijuana smokers, tobacco smokers, and non-smokers. So of course we would expect marijuana smokers maybe have more lung damage or emphysema than non-smokers. But what was surprising was that they had actually substantially more lung damage even compared to cigarette smokers. And so it seems like marijuana smoke exposure somehow triggers lung damage earlier, and you may need less of it in order to have that damage.
Imagine that's about what you're smoking. There are reasons that what you're smoking does or doesn't stick around.
Yes, and so it doesn't necessarily even have to be even the best kind of marijuana that you're smoking. The purest kind could cause lung damage. And we're seeing not just the damage in the lungs, more inflammation, we're seeing thickening of the bronchioles. And this isn't even we don't even know yet how this translates into cancer risk. We also know that marijuana, as it gets into your bloodstream, can of course get into the brain. That's how it gives you that high, but that can even cause risk for mental conditions like psychosis later in life.
Okay, now I have another question. I'm sorry to hog this.
No, you go hogging.
So what about, does this include vaping? Because that seems like that is how more people are now ingesting smoke products.
Yes, and in a weird way, vaping in a way can even be worse, because sometimes what it's dissolved into the vehicle that carries it in can be full of toxins, can be full of unfiltered particles that are causing that lung inflammation. And also what's really interesting about marijuana, we smoke it differently than we smoke cigarettes. So cigarettes you inhale and you exhale. With vaping or marijuana, you inhale, you hold your breath a second, and what that does is it actually opens up more lung tissue to expose to those toxins, and then you exhale. And so it can even cause popping of the lungs or tearing of the lungs, essentially. We're seeing people coming in with torn lungs and air around their lungs from this.
Gosh, we're of that generation. Remember the first ads coming out about the dangers of smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
You know, and maybe we're going to be seeing this. What about, this is, I know, off script too, secondhand smoking. Like if you're somebody that you're not the one that's smoking, but your partner or your friends are.
Very much so. We're even wondering how secondhand smoking doesn't just affect your lungs, the inflammation, and your risk of impacting your immune system, but how it can also affect cognitive development. So if you've got kids around or even anyone younger who's growing, and I often think about adolescence because it's such a trendy thing.
Yes.
Because it's legal, just like with alcohol, sometimes we think that excess use or even daily use is safe. And I really want the message here to be that it's not a safe substance. It's got a whole host of cardiac problems that I'm not even starting to get into today, but we really need to very much limit our consumption. And if we do use it, we need to use it in the safer ways, not vaping or smoking.
I was going to say, more people are using marijuana now in other ways than it used to be. 95, 100% of people would use marijuana by smoking it. Now, I don't know what the percentage is, but it seems like many people have turned to edibles, gummies, etc.
So edibles are much better, much safer. One, because you're not exposing your lung to those toxins. Your GI tract is kind of filtering out some of the bad things for you. The effects actually last longer with edibles, so that's the other advantage.
The effects, you mean the CBD, THC impacts?
Yes, because it's more bioavailable. It gets into your bloodstream slower, but it kind of lasts a little bit longer with edibles. Topicals are a very safe way to use it.
Yes.
If you are going to smoke it, though, here's some tips. So first of all, don't use non-FDA regulated rolling papers for your joints, because those papers can be full of all sorts of substances that are very harmful when you burn them. Don't share the joint, because we've got COVID and flu and RSV and all that other stuff going around. And just be sure to use the least dose possible. Don't inhale and hold it.
I mean, if you're using it for pain and for sleep and everything else, go topicals, go edibles. I mean, this is just not worth the risk.
I did not know the FDA-regulated rolling papers. I learned anything today. That's on the list.
It's something else we learned.
Dr. Payal Kholi, good visit with you. Thank you as always.